Welcome to the Ego versus EQ and You podcast, where we discuss the key aspects of emotional intelligence and ways to apply it in everyday living. Now let's work together to make common sense more common. Welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Jen Shirkani, and I am so happy to have my co-host in studio with me today, Steve Friedline.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks for being here.
Great to be
Always
around.
Always fun to talk to you in person.
Yes. Always anticipate where we're going to go this time around.
Yeah, so the topic today is conflicted.
I love that title. You know, it takes on so many different meanings to me because sometimes I'm conflicted about whether or not there is a conflict that needs to be resolved, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, okay, I know there's a conflict, but I'm conflicted as to whether or not I want to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Take it on and own it or fix it or just maybe walk away.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
I know. I mean, I think conflict is often thought of as a bad thing, but there's, I think of the model of the stages of team development, which is forming, storming, norming, and performing.
Right.
And you can't skip over the storming phase in order to be successful and get to performing. So it's an important piece, I think.
Some of the best solutions I've been a part of over the years have come about as a result of a conflict of interest and different opinions and getting together and saying, okay, now really what is the top priority here? Which direction do we really want to go? And even though people came into the room with very differing ideas and very conflicted, we came away with what I thought was a very good solution as a result of the conflict.
Even though it was really uncomfortable, probably.
Very.
Yeah.
And I don't do
if we avoid the discomfort, though, I think that's when we run the risk of the ego trap, which is if I surround myself with more of me, now I've just got a bunch of people that all think the same or are afraid to challenge each other, and I am never going to improve that way.
Right, right.
So we need conflict.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The way I go about coming to a conclusion might be very different from yours, but I need that perspective from you to become more objective in the way I am looking at the situation. Yes.
I learned a really interesting model for handling conflict years ago. I think you and I were probably certified around the same time in the program, but I tell you, it has changed my life when it comes to conflict, because basically what you're doing is you're assessing two scales.
Right.
One is, how important is this relationship to you, and versus how important is this outcome to you? And the way you rank those two then kind of gives you a strategy of how to approach the situation.
Right, right. And then we add the urgency factor into that.
Right.
And it's like, it may be on the top of my list and I need it done right now, and that's the source of conflict for you.
Yes.
Because you don't have
not the top of my list.
Exactly. So importance, but also the urgency, I think, plays into some of the challenges we face when trying to overcome discord.
Yeah. Well, and I think we all want to say, well, I want the outcome's important to me. The relationship is important to me. I'm trying to work through both of those. And in that case, we're trying to reach some type of collaboration.
And what's significant there is some people are more interested in the outcome than the relationship. And other people are more interested in the relationship and making sure everyone gets along. And the outcome is important. But if we're not getting along, that's a challenge.
Well, it's funny because years and years ago now, many, many years ago, I met somebody who was starting out in EQ themselves. Okay. And of course, in those days, EQ was pretty unknown.
Right.
So to find two of us that were both interested in the topic was kind of kismet. And she had a lot of contacts. She was teaching at a university at the time in a graduate business course. So tons of great contacts. And I had all the content. So we thought, this would be a good little partnership, right?
Like
she brings the clients and I bring the content.
Yeah.
And so we did a little trial because I had never had a partner before, neither had she, and we didn't really know how that was going to go. So we kind of worked out this little working arrangement where we would do a couple of projects together as quote unquote partners just to kind of see how it was going.
Okay.
So we did that, but it turned out that I was the one bringing in the business and providing the content.
Okay.
And so I kind of felt like, well, this is a little lopsided. This isn't what we had, discussed happening. And so I gave it a little bit more time. And then over time, I was doing other business outside of EQ still, like other leadership development stuff. But she wanted a piece of that too, because we were quote unquote partners.
Oh boy.
So finally I had to sit down and I'm, supporting my family at this point. So I don't have extra money to just share.
Right.
And I was being a little selfish probably too. But on principle of it, I'm like, I've brought in all the clients. I should keep the money. So I called a meeting with her and I just said, hey, I need to talk to you about this because I don't know that it's working out for me. This doesn't feel fair. And before we went too far into it, she said, well, before you go any further, here's a letter from my attorney that I want you to have. And it was in a sealed envelope.
You've been served.
Yes, exactly. And I was so shocked. I mean, I was just stunned. I ended the meeting because I didn't even know what to say to that. And I left, and it was on a Friday. I remember we were going to meet again on Monday.
And you were conflicted.
Conflicted.
Both in terms of what does this mean? How do I approach this? Am I in danger?
Well, and I was operating out of this relationship is important. And the outcome was important to me too, right?
Yes.
So I'm trying to collaborate.
Yeah.
But clearly, she was not putting a lot of emphasis on the relationship. She was more focused on the outcome. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening was Monday when we got back together, over the weekend, I had made my decision and I sat down with her and I said, well, here's your letter. I hadn't opened it. And she was very surprised that I hadn't opened it because I didn't need to open it, right? I said, in our agreement, we said that if it doesn't work out, either one of us can just kind of say it's over and that's it. So I'm exercising that option right now. Yeah. And I don't think this is going to work for us as a partnership. Right. But it really, as much as that kind of hurt and surprised me, it helped me see where she was ranking things. She was putting the relationship lower than the outcome, which is a win-lose mindset, compete.
Right. Yes.
And there's no way I could be in a partnership with somebody like that.
Exactly.
So it was great that it happened the way it did early on in the relationship, and we both walked away. No idea where she is. I hope she's doing well. Yeah. But it was a very eye-opening lesson in reading other people's behavior and interpreting then their conflict approach.
Right, exactly. And it brings to mind how many different directions that circumstance could have taken if you had chosen to avoid it and just, well, maybe this will go away.
Yeah. Maybe she'll change her mind later.
Exactly.
Or
exactly.
It'll work itself out.
Yeah. And so when there's conflict, it doesn't always mean that we're going to come to a peaceful ending. But at the same time, this was an ending that basically worked out for the both of you. She may not have realized it at the time, but it needed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Excuse me. It also brings to mind, how I see things versus how you see things.
Yes.
And, you've got this great example you shared with me yesterday. I want to hear it again because I think I am absolutely right and totally objective about what I'm seeing. And you have that same opinion based on what you're looking at. But how do we find a way of knowing that one of us may not be right, or we both may be right? Right.
It's a cartoon, actually, that I saw a few years ago that I just loved. It's the number 6 if you're standing on one side of it, or the number 9 if you're standing on the other side of it.
So I'm seeing 9 and you're seeing 6.
I'm seeing 6.
Okay.
And you can tell me that it's a 9, but I'm looking at it and I'm telling you this is a 6.
Okay.
And you're looking at it saying, this is a 9.
Yeah.
And it's both.
Yes, it is.
Depending on your perspective.
Right. But if I don't open myself to the possibility that there might be another way of looking at it.
Well, if you're so locked in because you're so sure of the fact that it's a 9, you're not willing to walk over to my side and take a look at it from this perspective, you're never going to see it.
Yes. Wow. Interesting. Which can lead us to, if there's a standoff in a situation like that, then we get to full-blown conflict.
Well, this is ego and EQ.
This is ego and EQ.
Right. Ego is I'm right.
Yeah. And
I know I'm right.
Yeah,
I have no reason to go over there.
And I may just not want to talk about it, and you might want to come after me. That whole fight and flight thing,
Yes.
right? I mean, when we're in full-blown conflict, we tend to see elevated stress and exaggerated styles.
Yes.
And if we have a tendency to avoid a situation, if it's a heavy-duty conflict, we're probably going to go in full-blown avoid.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Which is, on the conflict model, avoid is lose-lose. It is, the relationship is important to me.
Yes.
The outcome isn't important to me.
Yes.
So I'm avoiding this
Right.
completely and walking away.
Well, and I think it makes me think, too, we need to choose our battles.
Yes, for sure.
And so, I mean, conflict may come up in any number of different ways, or we may be conflicted about something. But the fact is, I need to think about how important is it for us to fix this now in this time frame? Can we put it on hold for a little while? Is it a long-term goal to get back together, or is it a short-term goal because we've got deadlines? There are so many aspects of what plays into this that I think gives us a responsibility to make choices that are important based upon what's actually going on in the relationship as well as with other people we're interacting with.
Do you think all conflicts are resolvable?
Well, it depends upon how you look at it, because the example that you gave, it was resolved, but not necessarily in a we're going to continue to work together. There was a resolution in that you both went your separate ways.
Right.
And it ended the conflict.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we could say
You
that's
could argue
resolution.
that, yeah.
There's not always going to be a resolution. I mean, I think sometimes conflict goes on for a long period of time, and it takes a willingness
Yeah.
to really delve into. And again, is it a battle that I want to? It takes energy.
It does.
Let's just say that.
It does.
You know, I mean,
Especially lingering conflict, right?
Absolutely.
So the goal is that we can get to some type of a consensus. And that means that even if I don't agree with it, or I wouldn't do it this way if it were 100% up to
Right.
me, I feel like I shared my side of it. I feel like you heard me.
Right.
You shared your side and I heard you. And even though the decision isn't going to go the way I would make it alone,
Right.
I can support it.
Right.
I understand it and I can support it.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal. If you're getting to a standoff,
Right. So
that would be the emotionally intelligent result.
Right. So there may not be a 100% agreement on both sides.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
we compromise and can walk away from the situation and say, I can live with that.
Yes. That's I think the best we can hope for in
Yeah.
a true stalemate,
Yeah.
right?
I can live with that.
I can live with that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening today. Hope you picked up a few tips and techniques on being conflicted when you're conflicted yourself. We enjoyed having you as our guest. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future shows, please feel free to email me. Otherwise, until next time, stay well. Thanks for joining us today on the Ego versus EQ and You podcast. If you liked this episode, be sure to follow us or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and please share our show with others. For questions or future topic suggestions, please email us at podcast@jenshirkani.com. Until next time, keep using your EQ and show ego who's boss.